Our main subject matter for this project was data and statistics surrounding Major League Baseball. Our overall approach was from the perspective of a presentation to an executive leader within the league, taking the approach of our analysis and visualizations with an attempt to provide some answers to questions that may arise surrounding team and player investments or spending. The questions we attempt to answer could lead to wanting to understand whether or not the money that is being spent on the team is actually producing the required results.
Now to go through the project objectives, the goal of this project was to find the various relationships between payrolls, overall salaries, and the rankings in the MLB, to interpret if there is a connection between having a large payroll and the rank. Objectives were set to find if the leagues and teams are truly paying for the performances, and the findings will be discovered through the highest paid athletes, which can be related to their team's rankings, the highest pay average among teams, which would show if having a more rounded payroll can be more attractive to players, average salary and winnings per athlete to see if the paychecks follow the experiences of the players, and then rankings and payrolls to see if winning can be related directly to success.
For this project, we opted to use the Global Sports Finances dataset from Tableau. This dataset consisted of two sheets, one pertaining to player salaries and the other pertaining to a list of the top teams and their payrolls. Several different sports are included within this original dataset, however, we focused our project around Major League Baseball. The first spreadsheet displayed payroll totals and averages, payroll rankings, and any percentage changes over the last 5 years. The second spreadsheet consisted of specific players, their annual salary, their occupational sport, and their endorsements total. This original dataset can be accessed from Tableau's main corporate website. Our additional data was obtained from the Sportsnet website pertaining to standings for the 2019 regular season.
When we started to analyze the data, the first thing we did through Tableau is ensure the data held no duplicates or errors, followed by filtering the data in order to expose only the data that was associated with Major League Baseball. We did end up spending a moderate amount of time cleaning everything up to ensure that it aligned well. Some of the issues we ran into was there's no linkage to the player salary sheet to the other sheets. However, all the efforts that went into cleaning up the data was well worth it, as it allowed the creation of the sheets to go smoothly with hardly any effort. Once we completed all our visuals and sheets, we combined them together and selected 5 to create a multi-frame story. After we were happy with our story, we of course had to consider visually what was the best color choice. Once it was all completed, we considered the multi-frame story that we created provided the visual of the data to our question. If the league or team pays a certain individual or has a certain salary cap, are they getting their money's worth out of their players in terms of results and champion wins? This determines if the league and teams are truly paying for performance. These next 4 slides are going to focus on each of our visualizations that we created using our data set. We are going to describe the visualization as well as link the visual we created to a practical application that could be used by an executive leader within the Major League Baseball Association when attempting to make a business decision. The first visualization shows the average annual salary per player per team across the league as a whole. From this graph, we can see that Atlanta, Houston, the LA Dodgers, Minnesota, and the New York Yankees hold the top averages. Conversely, the lowest averages reside within Detroit and Seattle. The value of this visual for an executive leader is that it provides an easy-to-view overview of where the most dollars are being spent within the league in terms of teams and players on average.
This next visualization shows us the average salary or winnings per major athlete. The purpose and value for an executive within this visualization would be similar to the previous slide, in which it displays dollars in terms of players. Who are the top earners, and what team are they from? In our interactive Tableau file, hovering over each slide will further break down the visualization and will show you which team each player belongs to. This visualization serves not only as distribution, but is also interactive in the sense that it can drill down. Consequently, this can also be used to compare team performance, such as wins versus losses, and determine whether these dollars are being spent wisely. In this next visualization, we look at rank of the team versus their average player salary. Here is meant to personify performance and how it relates to spending on the teams. Here we can look at current and the previous year's standings in comparison to the average player salary per team. In this visualization, we can see that there are some relations. However, there is also some interesting discrepancies. Colorado is an example of one of these. Here you can see that they hold one of the highest average salaries per player. However, looking at the lines above, you can see that they actually dropped in ranking between the years. As an executive leader, this would personify and help show that not only are dollars being spent perhaps not producing proper results. In this visualization, we show an easy-to-review overview of the distribution of dollars in terms of total payroll overall. We are looking at the overall total payroll of the Major League Baseball Association as it is distributed throughout the teams within. As we can see from not only this visualization, but our previous visualization, not only are the highest paid teams perhaps not necessarily producing the proper results that they would like to see, and perhaps not getting the highest return on their investment that they would like to see, but also the distribution of dollars within the league is skewed. As we can see clearly from this visualization, the New York Yankees hold the largest piece in terms of total salary cap overall.
Now for findings and recommendations. The New York Yankees have the highest payroll in the MLB, which can be related to that they as well have the most World Series appearances and wins of any other teams. That would be a connection that there is a relationship between winning and the payroll size. The Atlanta Braves, Houston Astros, LA Dodgers, Minnesota Twins, and the New York Yankees again have the highest paying averages. So of those teams, minus Houston, those are some of the league's oldest teams, which can show that being a more established organization can bring a more rounded payroll to attract better players and have more depth on the playing field. There is a connection between payroll and winning to some point, but it cannot predict the outcomes and rankings of each year, as too many other variables come into factor, such as injuries for one. So winning titles can grow your payroll. As mentioned, being a more established team is always beneficial. So for recommendations, teams with the most wins tend to have higher payrolls. It's beneficial to having a larger payroll to attract those top players and then still maintaining a well-rounded lineup with a high average athlete salary can lead to success. So to conclude, being able to spend more money on players can be a strong factor to winning.
During our project, we were able to discover the stories within the data, analyze the data, and design a data visualization to tell our story with the principles we had learned throughout the semester. Therefore, we want to take the time to thank you for your guidance throughout the semester and for taking the time to view our presentation today. Take care.